Alright, this is Josh Rubin from East West Healing and Performance. I've been away for a long time, a couple weeks, home for a couple days. I was gone for a week again, but I'm back. Today I want to talk about serotonin. Are you serotonin starved? If you look at our society, the interesting thing is over 40 million Americans are actually on what are called SSRIs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. Basically what it does is it keeps the serotonin on the basically the synaptic cleft. So it keeps serotonin in the pathway, so you essentially feel better, supposedly. The problem is it doesn't produce any more serotonin. So from my understanding, it actually can burn out your serotonin stores and actually create a depletion in serotonin. That's why a lot of people sometimes feel good when they go on them, then they actually get worse. And then when you try to go off them, the incidence of suicide and people trying to go off SSRIs is through the roof. That's why most doctors won't help you go off them. You can actually wean off them. It takes anywhere from 6 months to a year to wean off them physically, but also biochemically. You have to go through a detox. There are certain holistic doctors that work with people to wean off them, but most doctors won't because they don't want to be held liable because the rate of suicide is through the roof. Now, it's estimated that over 80% of adults in America are actually on SSRIs, and 1 out of every 10 children are on SSRIs. The interesting thing is, we look at these drugs like Paxil and Prozac and Wellbutrin, Lexapro, Zoloft, what else we got here for the names of the drugs? Effexor, Cymbalta. There's all these new ones coming out all the time because you start learning bad things about one drug, so they want to come out with another one that kind of does the same stuff. They switch up the ingredients to give you the same drug just under a different name in a sense. But what we're finding is kids younger and younger and younger are actually going on these medications. And it's actually quite a joke. If you watch the show Weeds, I don't even know if it's on the air anymore, but if you've seen it, there's actually an episode where they joke about putting the kids on antidepressants, and the child wanted to go on it. So we're seeing kids younger and younger going on it, and in my opinion, that's where we're seeing the rate of crime, the rate of suicide, all these, high school shootings. Obviously, there's many reasons, but this is actually one of the pieces of the puzzle that's affecting it. It's not really helping our society. It's hurting it. So if we look at SSRIs, and we look at serotonin, we look at all your neurotransmitters in the body, there's tons of amino acids in the body, right? We get them from food. What do we get them from? We actually get them from proteins. You actually get all your neurotransmitters, or all your amino acids, we'll use that term because a lot of people like that term a lot better, from proteins. You cannot get it from carbohydrates. And the funny thing is, research shows that if we talk about serotonin, depending on what you read, anywhere from 70 to 90% of the actual serotonin is actually produced in your gut. It's not produced in your head. It's produced in your gut to actually help with peristalsis and move things along. So when you constantly eat carbohydrates or you overindulge in shitty foods, you increase peristalsis, you increase the rate of the serotonin being released to help move the food along. At the same time, when we eat a lot of carbohydrates, you actually release serotonin. They don't give you serotonin. And it actually creates the feeling of satiety. It tells you that you've eaten food and that you're full. And it's a feel-good hormone. So we do release it when we eat carbohydrates, and that's one of the many reasons why people are addicted to carbohydrates. So we need to start putting more protein in our diet, quality protein, not just protein, to help feed the amino acid sequences in our body as well as the neurotransmitters in our body. Okay? Now if we look at serotonin, we have precursors in our body. The first precursor to serotonin is L-tryptophan. I'm sure everyone's heard of that. That's in Turkey. It makes you kind of sleepy, right? The next is 5-HTP. A lot of people have heard of that. Then we have serotonin. So you can't take serotonin and replete your precursors. You usually have a serotonin deficiency from insomnia, and that's actually a side effect of having too much or not enough serotonin. From having a thyroid dysfunctions, not eating enough protein, eating too many carbohydrates, refined processed foods, foods with additives and preservatives, smoking a lot of marijuana, taking other medications can decrease serotonin in the body. Having lots of chemicals and physical stressors in your life can cause deficiencies in serotonin. And having huge emotional stress, which is gigantic in our society right now because of money, can easily reduce your serotonin levels. As well as sun. Sun actually helps produce serotonin, vitamin D. So if you live in a climate, that's why people like on the East Coast get seasonal affective disorder, because during the winter months there's not enough sun, you're not producing enough vitamin D, not producing enough serotonin. It can release to, it can lead to mood disorder. So if we look at serotonin and there's the deficiency, why would we actually try to feed the deficiency? Why don't we feed the precursors? Why don't we use L-tryptophan? Why don't we use 5-HTP to produce the serotonin? Right? That's how the body works. You can't feed a stream at the bottom of a stream if the stream is dried up. You have to feed the top of the stream. That's why in the winter, snow, there's snow in the mountains. Well, if the stream dries up, well, in the summer, the snow melts and feeds the stream again. We don't just go pour water at the bottom of the stream and hopefully the stream's going to fill up again, right? You always need to feed the body from the precursors. So if you look at our society and all these issues that are going on and all these people that have serotonin deficiencies, it's pretty simple. If you want to read more about it, read the work of Julia Ross. It's quite amazing. She's one of the leaders in SSRIs. But what are some recommendations? What are some things you can do if you're on SSRIs, which we're not telling you to go off them, but work with your doctor, work with a holistic health practitioner, work with a holistic doctor, work with someone that knows that can help you wean off them. And that's completely your decision. But at the same time, include more protein in your diet, quality protein, grass-fed meats, cage-free, chicken eggs, organic meats, organic vegetables. You want quality protein in your diet. That's going to feed your serotonin and all your neurotransmitter stores, okay? Secondly, cut back on refined carbohydrates. That's just going to deplete your serotonin stores, hands down. You don't have to do it forever, but in the meantime, protein, veggies, fats, good quality fats. All these things are going to feed your hormonal pathways and your neurotransmitter pathways, okay? And you can watch so many of my YouTube clips and I talk about that, how important food is. Secondly, work with someone that knows how to assess your amino acids or your neurotransmitters in your body. This can be done by actually a blood spot test or a urine sample. We do that through a lab called Metametrics. There's many of the labs that do it. They're just as good. But you want to see where and what's going on so you can actually supplement with the right amino acids. So you're not just taking amino acids or taking a medication based on symptoms, right? So you go into a doctor, you say you're depressed, you say you have PMS, you say you're gaining weight, and you say you're 50 years old and you just got divorced. What do? They give you an SSRI based on your symptoms. That doesn't work. It does not work. So when we do the labs, we take a look at what you're deficient in, and we supplement you typically for serotonin with L-tryptophan, depending on the person's symptoms, but also what's going on in the lab, as well as 5-HTP, depending on what's going on in the lab and based on their symptoms. And we also base the amount and what we give them and at what time based on their biochemistry and what's going on in their body. Because you can't just give someone L-tryptophan, right? Or you can't just give them 5-HTP. An example is, if you just give someone 5-HTP, if they're in stage 1 adrenal fatigue, 5-HTP can actually elevate cortisol levels and make things worse. So you got to really take, that's why I'm not giving you exact dosages and exact when to take them, because it all depends on the person, okay? Third thing, easiest thing you can do is sleep. I just did a YouTube clip on sleep, so if you want to learn more, watch that. But sleep is super important. That's when you repair and regenerate, okay? And the last thing that you can do that will really help is eliminate all the white devils. Eliminate conventional dairy, eliminate sugar, flour, and table salt. All these things can easily affect your biochemistry and easily deplete your serotonin levels. So hopefully you've learned something today. If you want to learn more about us, go to our website at eastwesthealing.com. Feel free to call us anytime to set up your free consultation. Talk to you later.